It's exactly 10 after the hour 6 on the Mighty Metro FM. It's South Africa's most listened to sports show and Africa's most influential. We thank you for choosing us. Thibaut Touch, he's back again tomorrow between 3 and 6. Lute Love probably back with him again there, so you can catch that duo between 3 and 6. As Touch said, I mean, he was a little mistaken, and I'm pretty sure it was a thorn in the coach's ear as well. He said, unbeaten, never been beaten. You know, thank you, Touch. You know, you're putting it into the universe, I guess, for what's coming. Appreciate it. But yeah, Coach Rulani Mokwena is sitting with us. The youngest coach to ever win the DStv Premiership. The coach that has set more records than any other in the DStv Premiership. But also the coach at the end of the season who could raise yet another treble. Mvala joins me, a super journal, as per usual. Davik is sitting this one out. There were no big decisions that impacted the result of what we saw this past weekend. So we decided to give him a break so we can have more time with the coach. But also, we can reflect on what happened in the weekend. You know, Richards Bay getting into that playoff position. Sundowns taking it, losing that last match. The invincibility record not yet to be set. And then the two Stellenbosch and Orlando Pirates. Unbelievable. I was in studio doing those games, and as those goals were going in, I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. And the big one, Kaiser Chiefs for the second time only in DStv Premiership history, finishing outside of the top 8, finishing 10th, and not even that they won and, you know, other teams just did better, losing to relegated Cape Town Spurs, Mazon.
Worst finish in the history of the club. Yeah,
unbelievable.
Position. Worst finish in the history of the club. Unbelievable, man.
Unbelievable. But hey, it's not about all that, although I'd love to get the coach's views on most of that. He is in the building. Rulani Mokwena, coach, welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Ma. Thanks to the listeners. Thanks, Mazola. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Coach, before I even go, the most asked for question on Twitter,
yeah.
Was that jersey really 26,000? You saw that though, yeah?
I was told about it, yeah. I'm not on social media anymore.
Did you move?
No, I'm on a social media sabbatical. The space is too toxic.
But didn't you think to yourself, gee whiz, guys, has it got to this now? We're like...
well, how many things have we gotten to where you ask yourself, really, 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 when it comes to Rulani Mokwena, where's the limit?
Jeez, no, that was crazy.
I mean, with Rulani, you ask yourself, where is the limit? Where's the boundary?
But also, coach, you're a young coach. You know, you are of that generation of social media when things like you're a technocrat. That's the new buzzword, isn't it?
But I'm human too.
This is true.
I'm human too.
Did you get abused? Did you feel abused?
I've felt abused quite a few times, yes, for sure, and of recent, maybe even more than, and you know the thing that saddens me the most is that the people that suffer more than I do is the ones closer to me.
Is this family?
It's family. My family and my mother in particular. She suffers more than I suffer.
When she sees these things?
It's because she knows her child. When someone goes and says, this person is a liar, my mother knows her child. That I did not raise a liar.
Yeah.
So
and they get to her as well.
It gets to the family. It gets to them. So it gets to my players. I have players that come to me and they say to me, they say to me sometimes, you too humble. You give credit to everybody else and everything, and people talk the way they talk, and you just keep quiet. So and it gets to my players too.
I don't want to start off on that sort of foot, coach, because I want to start off on this past weekend. Your reflection on this weekend. I mean, we saw, and we're fortunate. And I know this is not something you might have wanted, although people think you enjoy having the camera on you. But I'm not sure how you felt about the camera that was in the dressing room. I loved you getting in there and us hearing you pick your boys up after that loss. How do you reflect on?
Did you know, by the way?
No, I didn't actually.
You didn't know there was a camera in there?
No, I didn't.
Have you seen it though?
I have seen it. Yeah, I have. But I didn't know.
We played it for you last night as well.
Yeah. No, but I didn't. Yeah, you did actually on the. No, but I didn't know because I had just come back from doing there was two studio live interviews that had to be done post-match, SABC and SuperSport.
Yeah.
And I had just finished both interviews. And then I walked into the change room and I looked around, and rightfully so. In fact, I was very happy to see them looking like that.
Yeah, they were very mobile.
I was very happy to see them feeling the pain of defeat, because we don't get to lose a lot. And so sometimes it's very important to see your players' reaction or reactions when we lose.
Moment, yeah.
And so when I walked in, I said a little prayer, and I asked God for the right words, and I said, and I always say this to them. I say to them, I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm very bad at that. As a coach, I'm a terrible motivational speaker. But one thing about me is I speak from my heart. I talk from my heart, and whenever I speak to you, just know it's from my heart, and that the words that I said to them after the match were from my heart, because it's a group that I love tremendously, and it's a group that I know loves me just as much, if not even more.
What went wrong on Saturday? Because it's something that you've come back against Stellenbosch when they led you for 20 minutes. You came back against TS Galaxy. We all watched to say, what is the comeback going to look like? We saw you throwing everything, kitchen sink and all, with the substitutions that you made. You've come back every single time except yesterday. What was the difference? Or Saturday, rather. What was the difference?
You know, I must tell you, I've this entire season, I don't know I've even lost count sometimes of how many games we've played in total. But I've watched every single game we've played maybe 3 times minimum. But the last 2 matches, Cape Town City and TS Galaxy, I've watched once. And Cape Town City I've watched once. And I have my feelings about what happened and transpired during the 90 minutes. The unfortunate part is I've promised the players that I will always speak to them first about my feelings before I speak to the media about my feelings. I don't want my players to hear what my thoughts are about what happened against Cape Town City on radio or in the media before they hear it. And unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to speak to the players, because immediately after we got 2 days off. And we haven't had a chance to do a review and analyze the game and show them video clips and talk about how we feel, because I have to know how they feel, and I have to express how I feel, because it's very important. And there's a lot that I can say to you here now, but out of respect for this group of players in relation to the Cape Town City game, I think it's better that I speak to them first before I speak. I
can respect that as well,
because it's a relationship that we have, and I don't want to break that.
Was it a Cape Town City you planned for, though? I asked that because they had a lot of injuries. They flew one player in the morning of the game, so perhaps it wasn't the game that you actually prepared for, or the team, the lineup that you prepared for.
Look, I think. I don't think in a very completely different way they set themselves up. They were, if you look, maybe Mark van Heerden has been a bit more consistent of a feature at left back, and he wasn't available. Tamim Kiza, I was told, had the flu and he wasn't available. Their captain at the right back, but
Keanu also had a flu.
Yeah, Keanu played I think very well. Him and Cupido and Darren Keat, they were very good.
Darren Keat was amazing. He was the difference.
No, he was man of the match. Mayo was there up front. Gonzalez is there up front. Gonzalez is the most creative player in the DStv Premiership. He creates the most chances during the season. So with what I had watched, based on the game that we played against them, where they played a back 3, and what I had watched based on the opposition analysis with the games against Pirates, the games against Richards Bay, the games against Cape Town Spurs, their most recent their game against Swallows. These were the 4 games that I used as my analysis. There was not too much of a change, except the fact that I didn't see a Goodman, but Rhodes came on as a sub, and Kutumela, of course, couldn't play, and we knew that. But I think structurally from a 4-1 or 4-2-3-1 type of structure, and the long throws from Fisher, who came on anyway as a sub in the previous game, we knew those were some of the things that. So I don't think we were that surprised, and I don't think they changed much, to be honest.
We're going to come back. We're going to take a very quick break. When we come back on the other side, there's still a lot more to discuss. The hour goes by when you sit with Rulani, but enjoy it. Enjoy it, because it's seldom that you get the level of genius that is what we're experiencing right now. Genius in the coach and the staff and what's happening at the moment in South African football. You know, you guys go on about how, on this show in particular, Mvala and I go on about Sundowns, but tell me a time when anything like this has happened before and it's been quiet. I'll tell you about Man United, when Eric Cantona, when, you know, the David Beckhams and that young crop was there, Barcelona in their time, Real Madrid, Al Ahly. It is impossible to ignore. And I say this to people as well. Be hard to ignore. That's who they are. They're hard to ignore. So today, we give them their flowers. 1823 on the Mighty Metro FM. I'm Andile Ncube alongside Mvala. It's a Monday. It's the three wise men. The third one today is not Victor Hlungwane, but Rulani Mokwena, coach of Mamelodi Sundowns. The wisest of them all. Winner of the DSTV Premiership and finalist in the Nedbank Cup. Is there something that it takes away when you lose that last game? Because, I mean, yes, you wanted to see the players sad. Sir Alex Ferguson, you may remember, once said he always wants the player that wants the ball in the hardest time. That's the one you want, the one that wants to play, who's angry when they have to come off. I think it was Ronaldo that had been angry to come off, so that's what you want. But did it take something away? It can't be, Coach, that you don't go invincible and it's okay.
No, it's not okay. It's very painful, especially with the level of investment. The level of investment equates to the level of pain and the depth of the pain that you feel, and and every defeat eats at you. It's a scar. Every defeat. Some scars just happen to be deeper than others.
Toby, I want to call it a mistake that he makes to concede that goal. You take him off after that. The decision around taking him off, and what's since happened then? Do you put him aside after the game? How is he feeling? Where is he with all of this?
He was in disbelief. When he made the error, I didn't get to see his reaction when he was coming off, but when he made the error, for the longest time, he was like,
Well, one of the most important qualities I think I've had to learn is empathy. And why I've had to learn that as a coach is that football is a game of mistakes, and if you lack empathy, you lack a bit of understanding of how and why, because there's no player that goes onto the pitch to deliberately make a mistake. But the truth of the matter, and this is one of my principles as a coach, is that you're allowed to make mistakes. But it should be one of each mistake. So we can't talk to you about the same mistake over and over again. It's a principle of mine, because we do corrections. There's a reason why for one game it takes me 3 hours to write every. If I can show you the notes, the players will tell you guys is there anyway. But there's a reason why we have corrections. It's because we don't want to see and we don't want to repeat mistakes. And the devil is in the detail. And so, as much as I am extremely supportive, because I have to be, I am also very disappointed, because it is something that not only have we worked on and spoken about and watched.
It's happened before, yeah.
It's happened before.
Yeah.
And I think. It's also, it's easy for us to blame the player, but as the coaches, we've also got to look at ourselves and say, the signs were there. We've seen the signs before. What did we do? As the leaders, as the head coach, what did I do? And
then can I sorry, coach, to come in there, but then can it be said then that he's not the type of player who enjoys playing the way that you like to play? You know, where you've got the 11 players, Ronwen becoming one of them. Is he comfortable on his feet enough for you to play him in the position and in the way that you like to play?
It's difficult to say because how many, and I should not be saying that because the truth of the matter is, how many good games has Mvala had? He's had more good games than he's had the bad games. The unfortunate part is that part to the bad games is a clear standout error that is extremely costly, and that's a little bit unfortunate, because that's a space where, and I always say to the players, because I go there first myself, is I say to myself, first is introspection. I look at myself and I have a meeting with myself and I ask myself, but why is it happening to me? And then you have to have the answers, because it can't be a regular occurrence to you, and it's just happening by chance. Do you get what I mean? So those are the type of discussions, and he knows, like all the other Sundowns players.
So let me make sure I understand you. You're saying, you then say, what is it that I have or have not done in correcting this that it keeps on happening? I need to question me first and then say, okay, cool, let me talk to you, but I need to, have I done enough?
100%.
Okay.
And
have you?
And that is the level of investment. No, well, of course, because me, the unfortunate part, and again, it's my nature and it's the way I was raised. Is I start with myself. I put a lot of pressure on myself. I demand so much from myself that I know that gives me the right to demand a lot more from the players. I start first with myself and I say, zero mistakes, Rulani. You've got to find the details. You've got to watch the matches. If you haven't found anything about this opponent, you've got to go to game 6, game 7, game 8, game 9. You've got to do corrections. You've got to plan training sessions. You've got to... Now, all of these things are things that I understand are the starting point. And I always say to the players that it's one of the in fact, not even the quality that stands out among some of the best sportsmen, but some of the most successful human beings on this planet. One minor yet extremely important human trait that they have is self-awareness.
Even in an individual era like that one.
Yes, you start with yourself. You have to. That's why they have a responsibility to do corrections, because they have to zoom out of the game and look at themselves while participating in the game and say, what were the good things? What were some of the bad things that I did? And they all have a responsibility to do that.
So then, Coach, if I'm understanding this in totality, it's one, Mtobi gives me way more than he takes from me. He gives me a lot more games for the club. Yes, for the club.
Sure, 100%.
Than he takes from me. But when the take is as costly as last game, invincibility, cup final, game, so like, is the thought of this could happen, does that outweigh he gives me so much more?
Well, it doesn't take me even there. It takes me to a point where I get more worried about his mental health than anything else. And for many reasons. One is because, as I said to you, I don't think there's an individual that goes purposely into a match saying,
to hurt everyone else. Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
Two, the Nedbank quarterfinal against Stellenbosch last season, there was a costly mistake.
Yeah, I remember that.
There was a costly mistake against Wydad in the semi-finals last season of the Champions League. There was in the AFL, there was a red card. Now, when it gets to that point, I then start getting worried about the human being. I forget about the player as a person.
The psychological impact of all of that on 100%. You, letting 20 other players down.
On top of that, you live in a generation where cyberbullying is a norm now. And so my biggest worry is not Ncube the player. My worry is Ncube the human being. That's where I'm at the moment. But I've also got to give him space and time to check himself, because you do need to do an audit when things like this happen in your life. You've got to do an audit, because as much as football is a team sport, your contribution as an individual is just as important as everyone else's. And it always has to be, because if one of us lets the rest of us down, which includes the millions of supporters of this football club, which includes the Motsepe family, the people that love us, our families. Now you've got to really then sit down and reflect and genuinely reflect, without holding anything back from your own self-analysis.
When you've had a game like what Ncube had, not game actually, because it was just the one mistake, you come off immediately after that, but there's a final on the weekend.
Yeah.
What does the coach then think? Is it, or do you have to still go back and look at where he is?
Yeah, well, it's to start tomorrow and look him in the eyes. I will have a conversation with him, and he knows that. I'm sure he's sitting at home and
waiting for it.
He's already preempting what he's going to be saying to me in our one-on-one discussion, because we are going to have it.
Yeah,
we are going to have a discussion about it.
And it's so hard because he's such a nice guy.
He's an incredible person.
Yeah, he was mortified by that era.
No, he's a person I like a lot, but I've got a job to do. My responsibility towards Sundowns is far more important than my love for an individual.
True. Speaking of love for an individual, we're going to speak about Thembiko Siloch, but I want to go through some players that I want to ask about.
Yeah.
One of them being Sirino.
Yeah.
Doesn't get as much game time as what he used to.
Yeah.
He comes on, I think it's against Simba in the Champions League, makes a huge difference every time that he's come on, and I think it was Simba at home. I can't really remember. Was it Yanga? Sorry, Yanga, yeah. At home. Makes a huge difference in the attack. You're seeing Amabena, you're seeing all the young players coming in ahead of him. What is it about Sirino that is not getting you to put him in the 11 anymore, where he used to be, or as a regular sub at least? What's going on with Sirino? Where's Sirino? Where's the coach at the moment?
It's only because I, as the coach, I have the unfortunate privilege to make decisions based on what I see every single day at training, and for me, there's just more to the game than the pass, the dribble, the things. And that's not just for Gaston. That's for all the players at Mamelodi Sundowns. Is the feeling of trust. Is the feeling of investment. Is the feeling of I'm prepared to leave. I come from a family that has invested so much in football, Andile. And I understand, for an example, that football is not just a game that is to be played without emotions. Unfortunately, because I have a late grandfather that died because he was on his way to Welcome and wanted to recruit one of the best players for Orlando Pirates at the time, and he passed away mysteriously on the side of the road for football. I have an uncle who went overseas and was given a jersey by the greatest Pele, who left his own wedding to go and help his team win a final. Those are my expectations from my players. That's the depth of investment I expect from my players. And when I don't get that feeling, when I don't get that sense, it is very, very difficult for me to play you in this team.
So it's got nothing to do with his ability. What I'm understanding from what you're saying is very capable player. Then,
of course,
in my mind, I
Super.
go, he wanted to leave. He stayed away for a while. Then, for some reason, came back. But the attitude and the gall to be part of the team and winning maybe stayed home when he came back. That's what I'm understanding.
And there was that time where he was, coming off the bench regularly, starting a few games, and then suddenly went a bit quiet.
What also doesn't help is by nature as human beings is if you express publicly, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but And you can't hold it against him, unfortunately or fortunately, because he is also a very good person. He's someone I like a lot, actually, Gaston Sirino. But when it's difficult to get the best out of someone who doesn't want to be there, and when someone publicly expresses, for an example, he wears an Al Ahly jersey when we play Al Ahly, or he twice home and away. You, as I said to you, for this club, I love Sundowns. I love Sundowns, and I make a lot of sacrifices. I demand a lot from myself for this club. I then place the same responsibility on the shoulders of these players.
But then, coach, why not let him go?
Well, I don't run the club that way. I don't have the autonomy and the power to make those type of decisions. Is the decisions that are made in relation to, because there's a lot of things. There's contracts. There's who wants him. There's quite a lot of things. There's the agent. There's the club. There's the player, and a lot of things have to happen. And when someone says, okay, I made a mistake, but now I want to stay, you forgive and you try to see, but now you want to see a little bit more. You want to see a little bit more than you've seen before, because
almost overcompensation.
You have to 100%, and it's not just towards the coach, but it's towards your teammates, because it's your teammates that
regain trust.
100%. The teammates need to know that all 11 of us are invested here.
So were there elements of it that you saw, coach? Because I'm talking about the time where he was playing, coming back, and from my understanding is that there was an apology to the teammates, a recommitment of sorts to
100%.
to be part of the club.
No, 100. There were some very good moments. And it's the same for everybody. It's with Esquivel, for an example. Esquivel, people ask me, when is he going to be ready to play? And I tell them, when I start to see him singing with the rest of the team in the change room before kickoff, when I start to see him in the rondo laughing and smiling, and I say he's inducted himself into the group, but also he's been welcomed by the group. Because when you go and you play these games against Al Ahly and in Cairo and against Wydad in Casablanca, it takes a little bit more than just the tactics to win those type of games. There's a sense of solidarity that needs to be there. And people ask themselves, why is there success has the same clues? All the greatest teams, the greatest Man United team, you can name it from keeper to
Peter Schmeichel in goals.
Exactly.
Giggs on the left, Beckham on the right.
There you go. So the greatest Real Madrid team, the one with Zidane that won 3 Champions League trophies. The starting lineup is there.
Gee, is that the greatest?
Barcelona, well, the most successful. 3 Champions League trophies, and you're questioning whether the
Galacticos?
Well, they never did 3 in a row.
But collectively, they did how many?
Oh, I'm not
it
sure.
It wasn't in a row, but they did the numbers.
Yeah, but to do 3 in a row.
To do something like that
to
in
do
a row.
something 3 times in a row, Andile, you have to. Messi, I showed the players a poster of Messi in 2018, 2019, and he said to Barca and to the fans, he was speaking. He said, "Count yourselves fortunate to witness this. In a few years' time, you will reflect upon this period and you will understand
what it meant and
what it meant at this time." And it's the same message that I share with the Sundowns players every single day. We might not understand it and we might not feel it now, but in a few years' time, believe me, we will know, and history will absorb this group.
Because you don't know greatness when you're busy doing it.
No.
1841. We're going to come back, ask about a couple more players. Thembinkosi Lorch, of course, trending at the moment. How does that, sit with the coach, and so much more. And then Otto Jabu sent me some things. He's a statistician. He knows the stats, but does Opta know more? It's 1843 in conversation with Coach Rulani Mokwena, the most successful coach in South African football. Right now, also, the youngest coach. He holds that and he's going to do it again and again. You know, Romain Falls would have had to win a couple of trophies to offset and upset what Coach Rulani Mokwena has achieved. And you know my feelings about Falls.
No comment.
No, that's my battle. Don't worry. Not bringing you to that one. Thembinkosi Lorch.
Yeah.
You guys have a special relationship, and that's yes, you have a relationship with most of your players.
Yeah.
You guys get along, and you know, I don't think anybody can ever say fatherly relationship with you. I think it's more big brother sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it goes a little bit beyond that with Lorch. You and Lorch are your friends, your coach and player, you're all of these things. He's played more games this season than he's ever played in one season of his whole life. He's contributed to more goals this season than he's ever contributed to any year of his life.
And
He's
got a league
obviously
championship medal.
You know what I mean? His first championship medal.
And he joined in January.
So talk to me firstly about your relationship with Thembinkosi Lorch, bringing him to Sundowns. Why bring him to Sundowns? What he's done at Sundowns. He's playing ahead of players that most are thinking, and we've got the Sirino answer now. Why is he playing ahead of this? Is it because of this relationship?
Well, I have a relationship with all the players. I've got with some, it's more special than with others, for sure, because the ones that play, you're their best friend. The ones on their bench, you are just their friend. And the ones that don't play regard you just as the coach. But still with that, there's a relationship. I'll make you an example. Before Ronwen renews his contract, the club made contact with his agent. And everything was done, sorted. Ronwen says, I need to see you. I said, okay, what is the thing? He says, I'm not signing this contract extension if you are not going to promise me that you will be here next season.
Why would he think you'd leave, though?
I don't know, but he said to me, he came to my office and he said, we've the agents and the club and everything is done, sorted, but I have told I think Mr. Rob Moore that I'm not putting my signature on this until the coach has guaranteed me that he will be here next season. That's the type of relationship I have with my players. And it's the same relationship I have with Lorch. We brought him in to help the team. And we brought him in knowing who he is and what he's about. And like everybody else, Lorch is human, like me, who makes mistakes, who is imperfect. I'm probably even more imperfect than him, and I make probably more mistakes than him. But I cannot go deep into this issue because I still have to discuss it with him face to face. He phoned me.
This is the issue of the video last
trending.
night, the fun he had last night.
Well, he phoned me, and he was in tears, and that broke me for sure because I'm close to my players. When my players are crying and are emotional, I get emotional and I cry and I feel their pain too. That's how close I am with them. But I don't want to talk too much about the issue except to say that I am extremely disappointed because I have said that to him on the phone. And the rest of what we will discuss and say will be in person, particularly because my biggest disappointment is the going live. I've seen Phil Foden, I've seen some of the best players enjoy themselves and celebrate their title successes, and this is
Hammered.
Hammered.
Jack Grealish couldn't walk.
Jack Grealish, exactly. But we also have to understand the role we hold in society that says ours is to inspire and educate and serve. We've got a bigger role than just what people think. And part to a professional footballer's career is not just looking after your talent, but it's looking after your career. And looking after your career means managing even all the other stuff that is around the career. And that's the diet, the rest, the nutrition, the
what you put in.
There's so much more than just attending training every single day and doing your best.
Absolutely.
And that is where, when I speak about being patient with youngsters like Mabena, like Cassius, and all these things, I speak about that because I have seen far too many players go through what Thembinkosi Lorch is going through in South African football. What's
he going through?
No one can ever tell me this is the first time we see a player that is struggling with substance abuse and alcohol abuse and all these things.
Okay,
we can't say that. We've seen it before. And so what are we doing as a nation, as the people responsible for the talent that is coming up within the confines of this country, to be able to assist these players?
Is it a bigger problem than just we won, we went to have fun? Because we don't know Thembinkosi Lorch as much as you do. You have the pleasure of seeing your players. We knew about Andile. We, found out about Sipho Mbulu at the time.
Yeah.
But with this, is it a bigger problem than this, or is it this a once-off where you're like, this happened, or is it an issue that needs to be taken care of the way that you mean, where it's a problem with Thembinkosi in particular?
No, I can't answer that because I have to speak to Lorch first, and I have to speak to him in person first, and he has to hear my feelings about the incident and how I view the incident in its entirety, and that involves what I know from the past, what I know from my time having spent with him in the previous club at Pirates, and that is a discussion, unfortunately, is not for public consumption, but it is a discussion that Lorch and I are going to have. But
so last night's conversation was a brief one?
It was this morning actually. Okay. He called me this morning, and in fact even his father phoned me. Funny enough, even his father phoned me, and we had a discussion, but the discussion I need to have with Lorch is the same as I would have to have with Ncube. As I said, it's individual, it's one-on-one, and it's one that has to take place with respect, but also with a clear understanding of what is allowed and tolerated at Mamelodi Sundowns Football Club and what is not.
Let's take a quick break.
Prepare to unlock over 2,500 fantastic treasures with Hollywood Bet's Mystery Parcel. Stand to win up to 500,000 Rand in cash and free spins every Wednesday from 5:30 p.m. and Sunday from 8 p.m. Bet 2 Rand or more on selected Playtech slot games to enter. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Attention, all you passionate young chefs in the making. Are you between the ages of 13 and 17? Then this is your chance to shine on TV. Enter to be a contestant on the Tastemaster SA Junior and stand a chance to win 150,000 Rand to better your future. WhatsApp a video telling us why you'd be the perfect contestant to 065 672 7127. Visit thetastemaster.co.za for more details. Entries close 31st May. T's and C's apply.
Celebrating the vibrant and diverse cultures of Africa all month long on Metro FM. Happy Africa Month, Metro FM. It's where you want to be.
It's 18:52. I've got Opta stats here, but before that, Coach, you spoke about your contract and you spoke about, him asking, that's Ronnie Williams, your captain, one of the captains in the team, are you going to be here next season?
Yeah.
We heard from a conversation that Mazola had with the chairman of the team. Just have a listen to this.
I'm really trying not to smile and be professional because I'm very fond of the coach as a human being and as a person. As a young leader in this country, he really has put immense pressure on himself to deliver for this football club. And the proof is in, like you say, the points. The proof is in the way that we've been playing, where he goes now in terms of next season, in terms of what he can do at this football club. It really is about his ambition for the team. But I think it's important also, because he would say it, and everybody in our football club will say it as well. He does this with a technical team that support him, with players that have such incredible character and charisma and drive. It truly is a team effort. But a year back when he signed and where he is now, having not even lost the Premier League match, it truly is, it's inspiring and it's amazing. But I do want to also say, he's incredibly tough on himself, and our supporters have such high expectations for us as a football club that we place on ourselves. It's important to also remember that himself, just like a lot of the members of our club, we're only going to get better. And so we need patience. We need to make sure that we continue to strive for more, but we also understand that what we've done and what we keep doing, it needs to be appreciated and celebrated.
Coach, I've always wanted to ask you this question because we see each other a lot, press conference setting, but the press conference setting is never.
Yeah.
You need to read the room. It's never, because I remember the one time we were talking with the Pirates coach, previewing a semi-final game, and then when he stood up, he said, "Guys, there was no question about the match because we don't get to sit down with the coaches, and it's press conference, and coaches sometimes just want to talk about the match."
And can I just say to you that is what is actually at the moment getting to me.
Yeah,
is that most of my press conferences about the TS Galaxy coach is about the handbags and the things, and I am in football for
the handbags
for the game itself. Yeah.
What's I missed that one. What's the handbags?
There were handbags in Bombela. We didn't see them. We didn't see people catch hands.
I see what you mean. So go for it then.
Yeah. So my question was, obviously, this is the second time I was speaking to the chairman about this. Spoke to him before you signed the contract.
Sure.
Speaking to him now after a year after you signed the contract and won the league, almost going unbeaten. And he talks about your commitment. But there are parts throughout the season where you've spoken about your decision to stay at Sundowns when you had offers, and I don't think we've extensively unpacked that to say, why did you choose Sundowns? Why, when you could have furthered your career abroad or out of the continent, whatever the case may be?
I must tell you, I've never seen so many zeros in my life at the end of last season. The offers, and I was of course tempted by some of the clubs, and when I remember seeing my agent, and he put the proposal from one of the clubs in North Africa, and I had never seen so many zeros in my life.
Jeez.
But when I say football is the most important of the least important things in life, this is exactly what I mean. There are things like loyalty, honesty, brotherhood, servantship that are far more important to me than anything else. And I am extremely grateful to the Motsepe family for welcoming me back to Mamelodi Sundowns Football Club after I left. And I made a promise to the then president, who is now CAF president, Dr. Patrice Motsepe, that I will see out the duration. Thank you, sir. I will see out the duration of my contract. And this is where I am in relation to the loyalty and the honesty, and also because I have to say to you that, number one, I think our chairman is an extraordinary human being. I was after we won the league title at FNB, I dedicated the title to him and the victory to him, and I was really so touched and grateful to God for giving me the opportunity to personally hand it over to him, because he is, if I could be half the man that guy is, it's unbelievable. He is so supportive, so kind, so generous, so humble, so hardworking, and he believes in people, and the amount of belief that he has in me. To leave would be an indictment. It would be really me pulling a middle finger on not just him, but also to the players and also to the Sundowns supporters, because my relationship with the Sundowns supporters is not the best. But it's a work in progress where slowly but surely you can feel that there's a growing regaining of trust that's happening again, because they were extremely hurt and disappointed when I left to go to Pirates, and as I said, I've got to overcompensate now, and prove my loyalty, and I'm prepared to do that, and that's why I have rejected some of the craziest offers for this club, and it is because I know I've got to overcompensate, and I've got to prove my loyalty and overprove my loyalty towards this football club.
Coach, I got to do this very quickly. Up to job when the guys at Latuma Analytics did this for us. One of your players, in his entire career, has never lost a match when he scored a goal. Who is he?
Never scored.
In his entire career, when he scored a goal, he's never lost a match.
Peter Shalulile.
Nope, you've lost when Peter scored. He signed in January.
Thembinkosi Lorch.
Thembinkosi Lorch has never lost a game. At cheaper at Pirates and at Sundowns when he scored a goal.
Incredible.
Wow. That is an incredible stat.
Incredible.
What is the most amount of passes you had this season?
Yeah, I know that one is...
It was against Spurs in December.
Spurs, both of them were against Spurs. Is over 700 and something passes. That thing makes me very happy because I want 1,000 passes, and you
got close, 800.
Yeah, I've stopped trying to convince South Africans must read Johan Cruyff's book and understand the importance of 1,000 passes. I've